You ever been in a position where you just want to quit and or everything you try just hasn't gone anywhere? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about how you can get past that and why it's so important that you continue the path of what you signed up for. This is the show. I'm Lawrence Tam here, your Chiro coach. Let's talk about how to deal with adversity when it comes to being successful in practice. So one of the biggest challenges that we all have in practice at one point or another, or multiple times in your career, I know I have, is when you get into this position of where you just don't know why you're even doing it anymore. And we've all been there, and you're not the only one. And I know it feels like it's a very lonely place. And the challenge is, of course, is that it's not like you haven't tried, right? You know, if you're watching this video, I know you tried. And it's not like you are not gifted and talented, because literally you've gone through chiropractic college to kind of get to the position that you're in. The challenge is, of course, is like what motivates you, because oftentimes I find it's easy to be motivated when the chips are down, like when things are against you. You know, when we're going through COVID and stuff, and people were afraid to lose their possible their business, we worked harder to kind of make sure that didn't happen. But when things are comfortable, when you sort of meet a minimum standard of, living, or at least your income, the will to push further becomes less and less, unless you have an internal drive, unless you have an internal hunger. Now, some people have that, and it's amazing. And, a lot of those are my clients, but some people just don't have it in them. And I think it's really important to recognize that within yourself, that it's okay not to have that. Not everybody has to be a freaking lion and go and chase and be hungry and go after things. That's not necessarily always the case. There's this hustle culture that, a lot of people talk about is, pushing and pushing. We got to keep on going is not necessarily naturally in all of us. And I think you need to accept the fact. I know you may want it, but it may not be in you. So how do you deal with situations when things are not going as well as you hope, or when things are, whatever you do, it doesn't seem like it's changing anything? Well, I think it really comes down to, figuring out exactly why you're doing this in the first place. And I know this seems trite. It seems like you go, well, I heard this before. Of course you have, because it's somewhat true, I believe. Like, you have to have a sense of purpose of why you're doing it. The difference is, though, is that your sense of purpose may be skewed and clouded, that in a sense that maybe it's someone else's purpose and is not really your own. Because for most of our lives, especially in our early 20s and 30 years of our life, is we're really just been told what we should be doing or what we can be doing. And most of us never really think about, what do we actually want to do? Think about this, right? You go to elementary school, we go to high school, and sometimes you go to university because of that's what we're supposed to do. And until you get into the real world, you really don't know why you're doing it anymore, because there's no teacher telling you what's the next step or when the next exam is going to be. You now have to choose the life that you want to have. Now, some people, like I said, have the hunger and drive, they'll go after it. But for people who don't really know, really struggle, and they've really kind of find, well, I need to get a job, so therefore this is what I'm doing it for. And I think this unawareness of exactly that purpose in terms of what you're doing this for, the objective, becomes really obvious after several years, because now you're really going, well, I don't know why I'm doing this. And the solution really is to be quiet in that voice and really kind of dig deep inside yourself to go, what do I really want? And that ultimate question you think is easy, but it's really difficult to answer, because there are so many things that that we could want, but really got to go deep. And what do I internally, what must my soul want? And it's not about pushing this. This is about pulling. And what I mean by that is that you don't want to push yourself towards something. You want to feel pulled towards it, because pulling, if you feel pulled towards it, that's something that's going to be more strong, and it's going to be more long lasting. And that sense of purpose, that sense of objective, what you're trying to do, or sense of vision that you want to have, is ultimately what's going to get you closer and move you towards ultimately be a happier life. The challenge, of course, is that we kind of get stuck, that we have to get that perfect, meaning that we have to choose the right purpose. We have to choose the right vision. And I think that's a false assumption in my belief. I believe that you can change your mind. I believe your vision changes as you get older, and your vision changes as you sort of be more mature. Your vision changes because you start to realize that that first vision that you had, or the second vision you had, or the 10th vision that you had wasn't necessarily the right vision. And I think we get caught up in these stories where someone knew exactly what they wanted to do when they were 14 years old, and we go, why didn't I do that? And we start comparing. The reality is that you are you. You are doing this for you, and this is your life, and you get to choose. Now, the beautiful part is that we get to choose. The hard part is that you have to choose. And that's the dichotomy that I think that a lot of people kind of sit in. And I guess one of the ultimate things that it is really important for us to be able to spend that time on a regular basis, not just, yearly. I'm talking like maybe quarterly, to kind of go through that mind. Am I on the right path? Is this what I want to do and what to want to achieve? And being a chiropractor or a health professional or whatever you may be right now is to really go back, if you're kind of stuck, is before you kind of activate wanting to grow, but make sure you understand why you're growing in the first place. If you don't understand what your purpose is, I guarantee you the next action step may get you a bit of inspiration, but it's temporary, which means that you're not going to do the work that's necessary to kind of get to that next level. What you got to do is you got to dig deep, because a sense of purpose, a sense of vision gives you direction. It gives you a sense that no matter how long it's going to take, I'm going to get there. And no matter how long it takes, I'm going to take my time to get there, because I know I'm moving forward. But you need that sense of purpose or vision to guide you. Without that, your life is just kind of Groundhog Day. It just becomes the same thing over and over again. And none of us really enjoy that, right? And otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video or listening to this podcast. So the ultimate thing of what I wanted to tell you is that you need to find that sense of purpose and vision. And one thing you might want to think about is, what was that when you graduated? What was that when you signed up for school, when you went to university for chiropractic college for 4 or 5 years? Why did you do that? And why you stick it out for that long? I mean, and also what was the sense of direction and purpose that you had when you graduated? That moment in time was probably when it's freshest and pure. But all of a sudden, obviously it starts to getting diluted, because now you have to add business and making profits, and also running a business and having a career. All those things kind of sometimes divert us from thinking and losing track of our purpose, which is, all those things are important. What we fail to forget, right, is that if you don't be better in terms of your profitability, earning money in your career, it's very difficult to fulfill the purpose in what you actually signed up for. Ultimately, think about that. Like, if you don't earn money and have a drive to actually get more profitable within your business, whether you're an associate or a practitioner, how are you able to fulfill that? Oftentimes we kind of shy away from the profitability part, because that's what we don't want to talk about that. But the reality is that without profit, you can't do this. See, profit isn't about making money. Profit is about allowing you to be able to advance your mission. So therefore, what you need to have an assumption is that you have a mission and a vision. So therefore, 2 things here, what you want to be aware of: find a vision, find a mission, find a purpose that pulls you. Okay, be okay that can change. Number 2, do everything possible to make sure you're profitable with it so that you can advance that. And that's what you signed up for. That's what you signed up for when you applied for university. That's what you signed up for when you applied to go towards this profession. This is what you signed up for, to do all those hard work on those exams and those tests, to do this, on those technique classes and everything else. Now, sometimes you might not know exactly what to do right now, but having this is the first step of anything. All those other things come secondary to this, right? That's one most important thing, because without the vision and mission and purpose, all of those things, actions, are just temporary. And I would hate to see people wasting money and time and energy on things that don't matter when they have no sense of purpose or vision or objective of what they're trying to achieve. Find your vision, find your mission, find your objective and purpose. Then figure out exactly, how do I improve my odds to getting closer to that. Now, if you're stuck in any way, or you feel like I've done everything and I can't get anywhere, then that may be when you need to hire a coach. Coaches isn't about telling you what to do. A coach is helping you see the things you can't see yourself and help you listen to things that you can't hear yourself. That's what a coach is supposed to do. And if you're interested in that, then you should go to joinnitro.com right here and let's have a conversation, or PM me And let's have a conversation around this, because how many more years are you willing to just live the way you are and hoping that it's going to change? Hoping isn't a strategy. Doing something about it is a strategy. Find your mission and purpose and vision and make sure you do something about it. I'm Lawrence Tam, your Chiro coach. Join us in Nitro. I'd love to help you get there.
It's all well and good to have a successful practice, but in the grand scheme of things, I want to make an impact.
The biggest thing that it's enabled me to do is to develop better relationships with people.
The reason I joined was because I was feeling a bit isolated in practice.
Now I feel like I have a tribe.
Lawrence definitely provides a really good insight from outside of my square.
You really start to find your true identity. When you're part of a group that supports you, which is what I feel Nitro does, you get some quality results.
I was caught up in the hustle side of chiropractic, so now having that freedom, still being just as busy and even more successful.
I think that we all elevate and rise together.
It really allows me to face my own fears and blockages. It's about being with like-minded people, but being about people who want the same thing, which is like this willingness to support each other and hold each other accountable at the same time.
We went from seeing an average of 140, 150 people to seeing now 250 people.
I do have the confidence to, have that voice and make those changes, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to do that without Nitro.
It's not trying to create me to be something else, it's trying to create me to be the best version of me.